Guys, we're just back over here at the bike again. I'm going to remove the air filter and give it a cleaning, as I cannot remember the last time I did that. The side panel nut that you need to take off for the air filter, this one here, is a 10 millimeter. This bike, it was used and abused, put away wet, but I got it, fixed it up. My wife has ridden it many times. Now it's more of just a play bike. That one nut, there's a push-through grommet here for the side fender, and there's supposed to be a grommet up here, the same type as this right here. To access the air filter, you have these tabs. So what you can do is pull up on the tab, or in this case, I'm going to pull down on the tab and release it. The top tab is actually fixed on the air filter. So yeah, you guys are going to have to pull on the bottom tab. There's a little clip that this hooks into. I don't know if you can see it there, but it's there. Now, I wonder how dirty this is going to be. All right, guys, I'm back. It's a couple days later. Did a couple other projects. The CRF 100 needs to be done by the weekend. The cable lubing trick had all intentions of working. It didn't seem to work the way I wanted it to. Nothing ever does when you're trying to do something to show others. I ended up sticking the barrel of the cable in the vise and pulling on the housing. Got it freed up. As you can see, the cable is very rusty. I'm going to work this back and forth a bit. We'll come back and show you the cable luber. Hopefully we'll put it in action and you'll get an idea of how it works. Alright guys, we're back. This is the wife's CRF 100. So I got the cable freed up, put it back on the bike and adjusted it up. I could not get any satisfaction or decent brake on the front of it. And I narrowed it down to the cable being stretched and possibly the wrong spring on the front of the bike. So this spring brings this arm back to a resting position. What was happening is this spring that was on it wasn't strong enough to retract this arm. I went through my junk pile, found a nice tight wound spring, put it in there. The cable is still stretched, as you can tell by the adjustment here. But right now I feel like we have a good set of brakes, at least to get us through this long weekend coming up. I replaced the bolt for the cable keeper up here, routed the cable through the eyelet, back over to the front brake, and adjusted the turn nut here, and we have some pretty decent front brake. This will need a cable, but we'll get by with the one that's on it. So I moved on to taking the air filter off. I'm going to clean that. The air filter it's seen better days. It's not too dirty. I cleaned this before. As you can see, the air filter oil still in the filter. This bike is of getting to the age that the filter is starting to deteriorate. This is going to have to be addressed probably the next service. You can still see a bit of the grease that I put around the metal. end of the filter, so where it fits into the rubber housing in here, it would make a good seal. My plan is to wash this in some gasoline, Varsol, air dry it, probably blow it out with the compressor, and then put some foam filter oil back on it. Like I said, it's not too bad, but I'm here, and I'm sure this hasn't been done in a couple of years. So I might as well do it now. At least I know it's good to go then. So guys, I took the filter apart. As you can see, this Honda filter is made up of two pieces. The metal screen, also known as the inner filter, and the pre-filter, which is foam. I mentioned earlier that this foam is getting of the age where it's starting to deteriorate on itself. You can kind of rub it and feel the grittiness of the foam. This is not ideal. This is definitely due for replacement, but I'm kind of in a bind. I will oil this filter up and use it the weekend. As for foam, air filter oil, I've used the Bel-Ray. I've had good luck with this for a long time, ever since when I had a KX250. The way I oil my air filters, I always get a Ziploc bag, pour some oil into it, and then put the air filter into the oil. Make sure you get an even flow throughout the fabric of the filter. Squeeze out any excess residue, and then once that's done, it will be installed back onto the metal cartridge. If you put it in a Ziploc bag, this will give you the opportunity to use this bit of oil again on, say, your next air filter that you had to clean. Just something that I learned, and maybe you guys will find it useful too. And we'll get back to you after this is all oily. After a slight mess on the floor, the air filter is now oiled. You can see I use a Ziploc bag like I mentioned earlier. I'll stick that somewhere where I can keep it for the next filter that I have the oil. Now, some people are going to say, if anybody watches this actually, that there's too much oil on this air filter. Guys, I ride in a lot of sand, dusty woods roads. You know, this has always done the trick for me. If you guys are, if this will focus, you can see a light smear of grease that I put around that metal surface. So this fits into the air filter housing, into a rubber, I guess a female end, where this male end fits in. I like to put a bit of grease on this. This gives it a bit more kind of stick, seal, bit of more reassurance that it's not going to suck dust in through it. Cleaned air filter is now reinstalled. The metal keeper is in place and clipped on the bottom. This plastic piece will go over the side. See if I can do this with you guys here. There you go. It's just the opposite of how we took it apart earlier. So in doing these little YouTube videos, I've learned that a lot of things are two-handed jobs. That was almost one. There's a lot of guys that I watch on YouTube that I follow religiously. Some of them are well-known YouTubers. Excuse me. Others are just starting out, but there is a lot of talent out there on YouTube. And, you know, I certainly don't think that this is what I'm doing will go there. But hopefully someone will get some use out of these videos that I'm piecing together in my garage while I do random projects. And, you know, if you guys do find it useful, even if you know all of this stuff, if you guys do it a different way than I do, Please, I'd love to hear what's different. If you guys think I'm doing something wrong, I would surely love to know. And if you enjoy the videos, just hit a like and subscribe. I plan on doing more of these videos. I'm going through all the pieces of machinery that I have and equipment and toys, and just keeping them up and running, and even restoring some. Guys, that's probably it for right now. I'm gonna go in, grab a bite to eat, and we'll see if we'll get out after supper. So I turned on the gas and turned the choke on. 3 or 4 kicks. It started right up, purred like a Honda should. The only issue is it's leaking fuel. This is telltale signs of a dirty carburetor. What I do believe is happening is the needle valve is stuck open in the carburetor, and it's allowing gas down into the float bowl. The float comes up, the needle valve, where it's dirty, it does not seat all the way, so it's not shutting off the fuel. This gas continues to come up, and there's an atmospheric vent. You guys ever wonder what that little tube is inside the bottom of your float bowl? Well, that's like the overflow. So if it gets to that point, that tube on most carburetors is connected to the screw for the drain. So then that will automatically start dumping fuel out if the float bowl is stuck in the open position due to dirt. The gas fills up, the floats rise, the float doesn't shut to the needle, doesn't shut off in the seat because of the dirt in the seat. The gas continues to rise, reaches the top of that tube. That tube is designed to, once gas goes over it, it falls down the tube and then usually comes out the same hose that the screw for the drain for the float bowl, that circuit. This should be a simple fix. I'll pop the carburetor off, give it a quick once over, take you guys along for the ride if you're interested, and hopefully we'll learn something.